My name is Julian Wilson, and this is Franklin Boulevard Media. I grew up right here in Gastonia. Like I like to tell people, I was on the other side of Myrtle. Yeah, I was on Davis Park Road. I'm on the Stagecoach end of Myrtle. So yeah, born and raised. Growing up in Gastonia was cool. When I was really young, we spent a little time over in Smire. Yeah, so know that community, have family out there, and we did over in Fern Forest. We were over there for a hot minute, and then landed over there on Stagecoach. Yeah. So for elementary school, I started off at Woodhill, and then ended up in Sherwood. And I graduated elementary school from Forest Heights Elementary, and from Forest Heights I went to Southwest, and we were junior high back then, so we were 7th through 9th grade, and that's where I first started playing an instrument. So I started playing trumpet at Southwest in the band under Patricia Roten. Was there my 3 years, and then I went to Hunter Huss for 10th grade, and I was there under Ted Saunders and James Montgomery, who's now a principal. Graduated from Hunter Huss in '91, and went to, my first year I was at North Carolina A&T. Loved it, had too much fun, and ended up at UNC Charlotte, a little closer to home. And that's where I got my music degree, from UNC Charlotte. And I started teaching in '98, and have been teaching band ever since. And since then, I've got my master's from North Carolina Central in Durham. So yeah, it's been a good ride. Yeah. My whole life, my whole family, I got a family full of singers. We're from old school Friendship Baptist Church. I mean, red brick church up on the hill. Before I was there when they built the one that's there now. I was there when they called Bishop McCullough. I was at Friendship then. So my parents always sang on the choir. I always had a house full of singers. My mom played piano, but she only read music. She'll tell you that now. She only reads music. So mom played some piano. Of course, at the old Friendship, we had Mr. Ellison. He was our piano player, blind from birth, but was asked by pop stars and people all around wanted him to come play, but he would only play gospel. And he was our pianist at Friendship. But yeah, I always had music. When I first started band, I wanted to play at church, but back then you couldn't play no drums, you couldn't play no horn, that you couldn't do that at church. But over the years, people started to open up to the idea. So I did a lot of playing at Friendship when I was younger, and then Mount Hebron, because that's my mom's home church. Did a lot of playing at Mount Hebron with the Neelys, Mike Neely, Steve Neely. They're my cousins, so we did a lot of playing together and got involved in some gospel groups and stuff. So I tell people straight up, my plan was not to go into education. I was always thinking to myself, I want to make some money. It's like, I don't want to be a teacher. My mom worked for the school system, but she wasn't in education. She spent a number of years managing the cafeterias and even being the person who managed all the cafeterias for the school district. So I knew about the education. I knew about, be a teacher. I knew what it was like. And I was like, I don't want to go into education. But I guess the bug hit me when I was in school. I kept trying to find my fit. I was in the sciences and I was doing math and all those other things, and never could find my fit in school. So I was changing majors. My parents used to pick at me. I had so many different majors. And my sister, she sat me down and said, you love music. Why aren't you teaching music? So I finally gave in. and stuck with music, and graduated, and once I got an education, I started at Belmont Middle. Loved it out at Belmont Middle. It was really different the way working at Belmont Middle. I really got to see how different our schools look from one side of the county to the other side of the county. So working at Belmont Middle, I noticed that, my band there is huge, but in the entire band, I only had maybe, 3 or 4 kids of color at that school. And after being out there a couple of years and coming closer to home, because, this school, your orchestra, is only 5 minutes away from my house, I came here and had the exact opposite experience. It looks totally opposite. It just reminded me that it doesn't matter where you live, all of our kids deserve a good music program, and they deserve to learn how to play an instrument. It's an important skill in their development as a kid. So, man, I started here in the year 2000. Yeah, I didn't even know if I was gonna have a job because it was Y2K. I didn't know if things were still gonna work. But yeah, I started in 2000 here, and I've been here ever since. I've been fortunate. One of the things that I noticed right when I started here is that there is so much just innate talent in some of these kids. One of my first, big eye openers was one of the things I used to do. I would go to the elementary school. Lots of the times, the elementary schools around here would have like talent show nights. So I would pop into the talent show and listen to the kids sing or do this or do that. And I popped in on one talent show and I heard one little girl sing, and she was like super shy, but I heard her sing, and I was like, after it was over, I went up to her and her grandmom and I said, "You are going to be singing in my jazz band when you come to middle school next year." The girl was fantastic. And we, with our jazz band, she was our lead vocalist, and we did a bunch of jazz standards, and she was killing it. We performed for all kind of stuff. We performed downtown for Bank of America, for fundraisers, for Classroom Central. We were all over the area with this kid. And make a long story short, she ended up auditioning for not The Voice, not America's Got Talent, but it's the other one. Yeah, American Idol. And she got to, I think, one of the live TV show rounds. Fantastic singer. And now she's singing for, what's the name of the church? Elevation. She's singing for Elevation. Great singer, great singer. She's one of them. Had another kid. He was a trumpet player in my jazz band, and great horn player. And now he's on one of the Grammy nominating committee folks. So he goes to the Grammys every year and gets to hang out with these folks, and he's doing Coachella and all this kind of stuff. I mean, he's out there killing it. And he's doing, R&B, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, there is never a lack of talent in this area. Sometimes there might be lack of opportunity, but there's never a lack of talent. There's overwhelming talent in this area. Well, a lot of folks don't realize if you go to some other schools, middle schools, because that's where most of our kids start. They start in middle school in 6th grade. There are rental programs where students are renting instruments, or their parents are renting instruments by the month, how much ever a month. And at this school, we probably have about 400 students, and almost 100 of them in the band program, so about a quarter of the population. And I can probably count on one hand how many kids have their own personal instrument. We have to pretty much outfit the entire band here. So usually most schools, it's just the big instruments, tubas and baritones and these types of things. But we pretty much have to outfit everything, flutes, clarinet, every instrument. We have to make sure, because a lot of our families can't afford that monthly expenditure. So that's something that in other schools is not a thing. You can send out your list. This is what your student needs to have. And here, we're like, okay, we're figuring out, okay, how many of these we need to have purchased in order to outfit the band. So that's just one of the challenges that we have here. But it comes with the program, with what we're doing. We have kind of a tradition here. One of the things that I feel, and all my admin that I've had over the years, they feel the same way, is really important, is for the students to get out of their zip code, to see more of the world. So we started many years ago every year we pretty much have a big spring trip, and it's for primarily our 8th graders, but we do have 6th and 7th graders who go along, but we want to make sure each year that as many of our 8th graders can go. That's our big core group, because they're here at the high school and we want them to experience this. So we've visited everywhere from Charleston to Atlanta, all the way to Orlando. That's the longest trip we've done, and really allow the kids to go to these different places, perform for audiences from around the country or from around the world, and to be able to experience what it's like to get outside of their area, and be able to perform, and how to carry yourself in front of people from all over, to instill that pride and that confidence in our students. And those are skills that we think are transferable to other classes, but also, even more importantly, to life in general. Being comfortable in different types of environments and being able to handle it and perform. And we were just talking about traveling to Orlando. I went with my family once, and we did one of where they talk to you about buying timeshares. And this back to your point, one of the guys who we're talking to, he said, any job or any skill that you have, there is a job for you here in Disney. And it made me think about your point. There are so many different opportunities when it comes to music. It's not even just performing. I know folks who start off as performers, and now their thing is they run sound. You can make a lot of money running sound if you're good. You can make a ton of money running sound, because that's a skill where the entire band becomes your instrument, and you're trying to make them sound the best. So yeah, there are so many opportunities in music, and that is not just playing an instrument, and you don't have to be uber famous in order to make a good living. There are a lot of folks who make a good living performing in music, working in a church, or performing as part of a group, make a really, really good living doing that, and you might not know their name, but they have a great life. They enjoy what they do. They get to travel, get to meet people from all over. And even away from the music part, the skill of being able to meet new people and talk to new people and confidently exchange ideas, people from other cultures, which is amazing. I was telling you about my daughter being able to go to Pasadena with her band. One of the coolest things I thought I saw ever, once in a lifetime experience. She got to go to this thing, they call it Band Fest, and they have all the bands that we're going to be marching in the parade in Pasadena. All of them did their shows for each other. So my daughter got to meet people from Japan and hang out with those kids, same age, and they exchanged pens and talked. Met kids from Mexico, and they all speak our language. We don't speak none of their language. But that's just one of the cool things, being able to appreciate other people's culture. I mean, it's so much that's wrapped up into music. Years ago, when I was fortunate enough to be Teacher of the Year for Gaston County, one of the questions they asked me, they said, "Don't you feel like you're at a disadvantage? You teach music, but over here this person teaches math, and this teacher does ELA, or this person teaches history, and you're competing against them for Teacher of the Year." And I said, "No." I said, "Actually, I feel like I have an advantage." I said, "Because we teach all of that." Because music encompasses everything. We don't stop at teaching music or math or the history of a piece. It all runs together. It's all part of learning music. Expansion. In a few weeks, we're going to be doing this will be our second year doing it. Don't ask me if I got any ideas, because some of our band folks, they were asking, "Anybody have any ideas, something new?" And last year, I said, we do an all-county band where the kids audition, and they audition against each other, and we do the scores, and it's an honor band, kind of like a East-West, basketball team where you take the best players. And I said, I'd love to see us do a jazz night where the kids get to learn and experience jazz music and how to improvise, because that's another valuable skill. Reading music is a great skill, it's important, and then being able to improvise, that's a great skill and it's important too. And to my surprise, they were like, yeah, let's do that. And they're like, let's do it this year. It's like, oh man, we got to scramble, get something together. So I contacted Lonnie Davis, Jazz Art Charlotte. And I said, hey, this is an idea. What do you guys think? She said, oh yeah, we got our ed rep. You know, we're doing stuff in this area. And I said, you guys, can you work this out? Can you work us in? Can we do ... And so last year was our first one, and we're getting ready to do our second one coming up a little bit later here. I think it's the 21st of April. We're doing a jazz night. This year it's going to be at Greer. Jazz Art Charlotte, they send down a quintet, a sax, trumpet, bass, drums, guitar, actually a sextet. And they do a quick little performance for the kids, and then they branch them off into like instrument specific little groups, and they teach the kids blues scales and yada yada, and get them playing, getting their confidence up. And then by the end of the night, we do a jam session, and the kids be coming up and doing little solos and stuff, and they're learning jazz etiquette. They're clapping for them. Doesn't matter if you play one note or if you play a dozen or whatever, they're gonna clap for you. And one of the first things we notice is when we taught them that etiquette, you clap for whoever, no matter what they do, you clap. Then all of the reservation of being nervous, all that went away. And we had some of the shyest little girls or guys, they were going up there and doing the thing, because they know no matter what I play, I want to get clapped for. And so that's one of the things I was really excited about, and I'd love to see more expansion of that. All that they're doing in Charlotte with Jazz Art Charlotte, and the performances and bringing in people from around the world to perform. I love that. We're close enough. I love that to filter down here, and us be like annexed into that Jazz Art Charlotte program to give a lot of our kids an opportunity to experience that, who can't necessarily drive up on Sunday afternoon for the rehearsals or whatever. You know, set up something here, have a hub here, and make that connection. So we're in the midst of making that happen, I think. Just like you said, I believe in more opportunities for our kids. There are so many stages in our area. I got through talking to the other day, City Church, Dickie Spargo. Got a beautiful outdoor stage. He said just waiting for somebody to come play. So there are so many opportunities for the kids to go play. I believe my dad used to talk about this. He used to sell insurance among his other million jobs, and he'd always talk to me about TOMA. I was like, what is TOMA? He said, top of the mind awareness. He said, when it's something that you do, when they think of that thing, you want them thinking of you. Okay? You want them to have top of the mind awareness of you. And the more we put our programs out there for people to see, for kids to perform jazz, or for them to do outdoor concerts, or small groups over here or small groups over there, when people think music in Gaston County, they're going to think, of these band programs, and that's what we want to have. We want to have top of the mind awareness. We don't want to be tucked away over in the school. We want to be out in people's faces so that they know this is what we do. This is valuable. Your kids are getting these skills from this, and the more they see it, I think the better the support will be in our area. So how you can help is become a sponsor of the program. We would love to start a program, and we're working with some folks now, where yearly we know we can count on these organizations to help us as far as making sure that we have everything the students need to be successful. And also, if we are taking the kids somewhere, we know that we have these organizations who are going to support our children and make sure that no kid is left behind, no kid that is eligible to go is left here. All of them get an opportunity to experience all these things that we're trying to get them to be a part of.
Gas House or G-Town?
Gas House. Gas House. Yeah, we used to always, high school, the Gas House. Yeah. Yeah, we never said G-Town. We always said Gas House. Yeah, yeah.